Now, we've spoken quite a bit this year about B Corps. These are companies that are recognised and certified for how socially and environmentally responsible they are. Well, now a 75-year-old printing business in Oxford has been recognised as one of the top B Corps, a Best for the World rating. That means it's in the top 5% of companies globally for positive environmental impact. Well, Seacourt has used new technology to reduce the impact of its processes by using renewable energy, cutting chemicals and delivering zero waste to landfill. Joining me now is the Managing Director at Seacourt, Gareth. Seacourt. Gareth, very good morning to you. As I mentioned in the introduction there, you aren't some sort of newly formed company that's seeking to sort of ride the ESG wave. You've been at it for 75 years. What was the sort of turning point?
Morning, Ian. Yeah, absolutely. So we're a 75-year-old challenger brand. And the turning point was when we discovered just how bad our industry is for the environment. This was 25 years ago. And you yourself will know this from your days on the newspapers. We're such a resource-intensive industry that consumes so many natural resources. So when we found out just how damaging our industry was, we decided that we had to change. We had to move from a linear business model to one that is values-based, one that takes appreciation of society and the environment, as well as just simply profit.
Have you had to compromise on profitability then in making this transition? It sounds from what you're saying as though you may have.
Yes, we've invested a lot of time and energy and money over the years in order to push things forward. But where we are now, Ian, with society, the way that society is now pushing forward and better understanding our changing climate, the previous investment is now sees us well positioned. People are starting to understand why we see businesses as being the opportunity for it to be a force for good. And people are catching up, which is absolutely fantastic. You know, we need to change. We need a sense of ambition to really push on and reduce our changing climate.
Have you reached a position yet where you can actually charge customers a premium for the fact that you are a business that's trying to have a positive impact on the environment?
I think it's all about value, Ian, as against looking at costs. It's about value. What value are we delivering to our clients? And I think the answer is that we're delivering good value because we're outperforming the market in terms of our growth, in terms of our profitability. And it's the same as when you look at the stock market and those companies that are working with CDP on their carbon disclosure, they too are outperforming the market. So we can all see across all sectors that those organisations that are committed and understand that everyone has an impact, whether positive or negative. And it's just a case of pushing the conversation on and doing the very best that we can.
Now, you say on your website you want to become a completely regenerative printing business. What does that mean in practice?
Well, it means it's very difficult in practice. But what it means at the moment is, so we're running on 100% renewable energy. We've reinvented the printing process so that we're not using any water, we're not using any chemicals. We've proved that zero waste to landfill is possible. We've mapped our entire carbon impact in our entire universe. This is scope 1, 2, and 3. And then we've added 10%. So what that means is that every time we're producing work for our wonderful clients, we're actually doing good from a carbon perspective. We're actually taking more carbon out of the atmosphere than we're responsible for. But that's only one metric, Ian. There are other metrics. And so what we'd like to do over the coming years is to look at those other metrics and see how we can bring solutions to bear. And that's the thing about the whole COP26 and the ambition of UK PLC to be a global leader. We need to focus on not just carbon offsetting and reduction. We need to focus on mitigation first. Carbon offsetting, you know, is very much the tail on the dog. It has a place, it has a purpose. But we all need to, you know, start to look at how we can change our factories and our offices inside out. So look at running on renewable energy, look at your transport policies, look at EVs, look at your supply chains. And then at that point, we then look at offsetting when you can no longer do anything further.
OK, look, before we let you go, Gareth, obviously there's a lot of talk right now about the government's guidance on back to work. Are you generally satisfied with the guidance you've been given?
Yeah, it's challenging times for everyone. and all we can do is take a next step, one step at a time, and keep working forwards and pushing open and doing the best that we can. And all we can do is be collective, work together, and we'll come through this. We're nearly there.
Is everyone back in the workplace now?
Everyone's back at here, yes.
Good to hear. Gareth, great to talk to you this morning. Thanks very much for joining me. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian.